Hello, Island Devil friends. Attack on Titan is the greatest anime ever made. And I don't care I don't care what you say. My opinion is the correct opinion. For the longest time, I thought Hunter x Hunter was the greatest anime. It's still really very good, but after recently deciding to watch through all of Attack on Titan in like one sitting essentially, I don't see how anime could ever get any better. I even instantly turned around and started watching it again with Kim because I wanted her to see it, and now she loves it too. I watched it twice back to back, and there's something so special about watching all of it through, then going back to the start and watching it again, because they planned the whole story out right from the start. The very first episode has so many, I don't even want to say hidden things or like Easter eggs, but it's just things that are set up that you don't find out about till the last episode that you didn't even realize was there in the first place. So it's not like you watch that first episode and you have all these unanswered questions. You have some unanswered questions. It's just by the time you go back and you start it over again, everything makes sense. Everything has a deeper meaning. Everything has so much more weight. It was really enjoyable watching it a second time, and also watching someone else's reaction, in this case Kim, who I was very excited to watch the show, her reaction to how the story was going to unfold, knowing what was coming and waiting for these pivotal moments for her to see certain things. This show, unlike any other show, has so many cool plot devices and story twists and moments that set it apart from really anything else I've seen, not even just other animes. The writing is so good. Like, I struggle to find in this very complex story any real plot holes. There are certain things I've seen people nitpick online, and there's a couple things that I kind of feel like, well, how did that make sense? But it's always just with the flair of entertainment. They went overboard with a couple story elements to make it interesting, and you can kind of forgive it because it was just so cool. And it's nothing that really plays an integral part of the story. For the most part, from start to end, it's such a tight, incredible story with insanely likable and hateable characters. I haven't been this into a story in an anime or like felt as good about the writing since I watched Death Note. I haven't gone back and watched Death Note in a long time, but I feel like Death Note's writing is really what carried that show. This show was very similar to that for me, but this show just felt so real. It felt like it was weighted in reality. By the way, I should probably say there will be spoilers in this. There's no way I can talk about this show without revealing some of those spoilers, so just know that now and back out and just trust me, this is the best anime you'll ever see. Back out now, go watch it, and then come back. I lost my train of thought because I had to give that spoiler warning. So let me say that I tried watching this anime once a couple years ago, and I didn't really love it. I got a couple episodes in and I wasn't feeling it, so I stopped. And if that happens to you, I encourage you to watch until episode 7. And I know there's always these animes where people say, just wait, it gets good. But really, trust me, wait, it really does get good. So the way this show starts off, it sets up the premise that there are these people, the remaining civilization of humans living behind these 3 giant walls. And the reason why they live behind these giant walls is because there are these humanoid giant creatures called Titans that eat people. They put up the walls to keep them out. Then one day, Armin, Mikasa, and Eren, these 3 friends that are just enjoying their day as much as possible within these walls, it all goes to hell when the walls come crumbling down, when a giant, colossal Titan kicks down the wall and lets in a ton of regular Titans. One of them ends up eating Eren's mom, and he sees it right in front of him, and he decides right then and there that he's one day gonna kill all the Titans. Not because he wants to be a hero, but because he wants to get revenge for his mom, and he just is hell-bent on revenge. So the first few episodes from there aren't that interesting after that moment. They sort of set up what life is like after the walls fall and they all retreat to the second inner wall. It sets up Eren and his friends joining the Scout Corps and going through military training. It sets up meeting all the characters because there are so many characters in this show. It's very Game of Thronesy in that way. This show does remind me a little bit of Game of Thrones and how many characters they have, each with their own storylines and backstories and arcs and separate things that are happening. And it wants you to meet all these characters and decide which ones you like and don't like. And it really does spend a few episodes making it seem like we're gonna get big and strong and become scouts and we're gonna go kill all those Titans, and they're all amped up on confidence because none of them have really tried fighting a Titan before. They almost think it's easy. They get this instilled into them that you just cut the back of the neck and it's like that's a weak spot and they dying. You've got this. Go on, get it. You know, this is years later. Eren's much older. They've gone through so much training, and Titans have breached the wall again, and they've decided to charge into battle. And up until this moment, you as a viewer have hope. You as a viewer have come along for their ride. You see their camaraderie. You know what they've been through to get to this point, and you're ready to see them kick ass. And the very first Titan that appears just snatches one of them up just like that, and instantly one of the characters that you've already grown to like that's part of this crew is gone. Like, I'm getting chills now talking about it because it's such a cool tone shift, and it all goes to shit. Like, they're not equipped for this. They're not able to handle this. And that was one of the first cool tone shifts of the show, is realizing the weight of the situation all these characters are in, and that they're not going to be able to just get out there and kill every Titan. So where do they go from here? And I feel bad ruining any of these tone shifts or any of these spoilers. Please, even if you haven't seen it and you decided to keep watching this video, I'm going to keep encouraging you to leave. The next big moment that I couldn't wait Kim to see for the first time, and this is what hooked me on the show. And I swear to God, go watch the show. Do not have me ruin it for you. Okay, well, first, Eren goes charging off after this Titan that, ate his friend. Instantly, he messes up and ends up getting his leg bit off. And again, this is the main character that you've been following this whole time. And then another Titan comes out of nowhere and picks up Armin, Eren's best friend, or one of his two best friends, and goes to eat him. And then Eren's like, no, yanks him out. And then Eren gets eaten instead. And the main character of the show is just gone. And he's gone for a couple of episodes. That is until there's another really cool moment where all hope is lost. Yeah, it's like 360p. Sorry about that. You think Mikasa is about to die as well, and then out of nowhere, this giant, badass-looking Titan just comes out and sucks this other Titan in the face that was about to eat Mikasa. And then this Titan ends up going on an absolute rampage, killing all of the other Titans in the wall. They come up with a plan to lead this Titan who's killing other Titans towards all the other Titans, and they save the day using this Titan, and then the Titan ends up being, and God, I hate the spoilers, but the Titan ends up being Eren. That's like episode 7, and it was at that moment that I was so hooked in this world and this show. I wanted to know where these Titans are coming from. I wanted to know how Eren was able to become one and not know. I wanted to know everything, and I was absolutely hooked. The show from there, it goes to a place that I can't even summarize in one video. There are so many cool arcs that happen. There are so many, as I said, cool twists and turns. If you're a fan of this, you can actually go and look up Attack on Titan Season 2, Episode 6 reveal. I've seen these two react to it. This was literally me the first time and then Kim the second time. And I was just staring at her, waiting to see her face. Oh my God, it's so good. So here's Hanji, and she's having a conversation about the Titans and a hole in the wall. And then it's still following her as she walks away. The camera is on her. But the blurred out people over here that I'm not revealing, they say something off to the side that is the biggest reveal. This is literally the biggest reveal of the whole show. And they're still saying it right now as they're off camera. There's been other big reveals in the show up until this point that were done in a very big and flashy way. And each one was pretty mind-blowing. It was like, whoa, they, and who, and what? And it was all done in like action and flashy, right? Now, arguably the biggest reveal of the whole show so far, and they do it in this weird cutaway with just some dialogue, revealing probably, I would say at this point, the biggest question everybody had for a whole season and 6 more episodes. And the reason why I think that's so cool is doing it just flashy again with another big reveal, it would still have been pretty mind-blowing. So doing it in a way that you almost feel like you're missing the conversation. You almost feel like you're mishearing the conversation. You instantly are like, what did he say? Wait, what did he say? There's no way. There's no way he just said that. I must have misheard that. Why are we not following that action? You've made it harder for me to compute what he just said. It adds so much more of a heart stop to the moment because you want to be wrong. I'm getting emotional. This show is so good. You want to be wrong in that moment. You want to have misheard it. But it also puts you into Eren's shoes, who was hearing the information for the first time, because you feel exactly how he feels now. He just got told that information. You just got told that information. And Eren is also like, no, that's not true. His actual reaction is, you're wrong. Like, that can't be right. And that's exactly everything that you're saying. Yeah, if you look at their faces, it's exactly the reaction. It's like, what did you just say? It's literally the same face. Some people think this was a horrible way to reveal it because it's like so almost frustrating that you don't even get to really hear it or see it as they're walking away. But the thing is, that's what made this face happen. And that's exactly what Eren was feeling. It's so smart. And that is, in a nutshell, without me going on about this whole show, the writing, the vibe, the tone, the delivery, the experience of watching Attack on Titan from start to finish. I could talk about more. I didn't even get to talk about Levi. Let me talk about Levi really quickly. Levi is my favorite anime character of all time. I asked him to get me this for my birthday. That's how much I like Levi. It's gonna be hard to explain why he's so cool without you watching the show. And also without giving spoilers. Through the whole show, there are so many horrible things that happen. And he's the only one that's really just a rock the whole time. Like, I feel like he, without realizing it, is like a guiding light to pretty much every character that looks up to him, which is ironic because he's the shortest character in the show. He's like he's a short king. He's like 5'1". Like, he's so tiny, but he's the biggest badass. And he has some of the absolute coolest moments in the show. They stretch reality a little bit. They all have this ODM gear that they zip around on like Spider-Man. And if you really like overthink it too much, like the practicality of all of that doesn't really make a ton of sense. But that's about the only thing that is like unrealistic about the show, and it's really not even that unrealistic. It's super easy to buy into the concept. I mean, the other thing is obviously that you have these titans, but they do a pretty good job of even explaining how they function, even down to the fact that they're super lightweight and essentially just like made of steam. But yeah, anyway, throughout the whole show, Levi is a constant badass, essentially. Just one of the coolest characters. I don't really have time to get into all of it. I've already been ranting for 20 minutes, and I'm honestly barely even out of season 1. I talked about a little bit of season 2. I hope if you haven't seen the show, I've encouraged you to watch it. It is just phenomenal with so many cool characters. Yeah, getting to watch it with Kim and seeing her reaction to all the big moments was so cool. Oh, another thing I really like about the show, it actually reminded me here with this moment of Annie looking very waifu girl for a second. Pause on that. Something I really, really appreciate this show for is it is exactly what it is. And the tone is the same the whole way through. It's not a fun anime. Like in the sense of you watch animes and they're very lighthearted and fun and goofy. And there's moments even in like really serious animes where they play around with the animation style. A show like Demon Slayer it's very serious concepts, right? I mean, like his whole family is slaughtered at the start, and you know they're killing demons, and there's a lot of very serious concepts that show deals with. But at the end of the day, it's still a fun show, and it's very goofy. This is not that. In fact, when the writer of the show was pitching the show, he went to Shonen, and they told him they declined it. They were like, "This is not a Shonen show," and he had to shop it around other places. I don't know the whole story, but it's not like that. There's not a single fun episode. I would say there's one episode in season 4 when they all get drunk and have like a party type vibe. For like, I want to say a minute, there is an air of fun where all the characters are just having a good time. It honestly makes it hit so hard because it's just so bizarre to actually see them having fun for once and acting silly. It sticks to its style. It sticks to its story. It doesn't waver. It's very intense. I don't know where I was going with that. I had a point I was going to make. Oh, yeah. And that's another thing I appreciate about the show is, and there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of animes, even ones that I really like, they have a lot of like, I don't know how else to say it, but like pervy moments. And I'm fine with them pretty much always. Like, I don't really have a problem. That's just part of anime most of the time. Even in Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka was such a perv in a really gross way. And a lot of shows have that. This show doesn't. It's very serious in its tone. It takes itself extremely seriously. It's telling a story, a very intense and upsetting story. And it doesn't take do any of that. It's so serious. It's so focused in its storytelling. Again, it reminds me of Game of Thrones in that way too. Although Game of Thrones had a ton of sex, so maybe not. The last thing I'll say to end this discussion, and I hope that you decide to go see it, is I'm just going to touch on the final season. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm going to talk about the vibe of the final season. So the first 3 seasons tells a very concise story, essentially about Armin and Eren really, and their dream to escape the wall and see what's beyond. Season 4 takes on a different form, a necessary form and an awesome form. It's a long season, and it sort of starts a retelling of another side of the story. And it was very interesting, but also almost like a handbrake or like a 180 on what I was expecting. I had no idea going into season 4 what it would be like. And the start of it was definitely a bit of a shock, but the way they tie it all together, and by the end of the season, when certain characters were unified, I'll say, I'm not giving spoilers for season 4. I refuse to do it. It was so worth it. With what's going on in the world right now, I know it's silly to correlate it to an anime, but it's also silly to be like, we could all learn a lot from Attack on Titan, but in a very naive sort of foolish way of just having seen this show that I absolutely love. There's a lot that a lot of people could learn, I think, from watching season 4 of Attack on Titan. My point is, I loved season 4. Some people don't like the ending, or they would rather it be done differently. I thought it was perfect. I wouldn't change a single thing. On a rewatch, I learned way more about it than I did before. And yeah, ultimately, I really, really liked season 4. So yeah, that's a lot of my thoughts on Attack on Titan. I know there's other great animes out there, and I know it's different strokes for different folks. Some people like fun animes, some people like slice of life. For me personally, I love a great story and I love action. This show has both. It's half a fantastic story and it's half incredible action. So yeah, this is just my kind of anime. Recommend me an anime to watch now if I liked Attack on Titan. There's one I can't think about. I can't think of the name. I haven't started it yet. A lot of people recommend it if you've just finished Attack on Titan. It's more like it's even more Game of Thronesy because it's got like swords and it has one name and it's a very similar art style. And I can't remember what it's called. You can let me know down below. I've already forgotten it. I don't see how there could be something I would enjoy more. To be fair, I said that after Hunter x Hunter. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, let me know down below. Like, comment, and hair flip on that subscribe button. More anime reviews tomorrow. No, I'm not promising that.